I think we might have our first bullet. I've already fanned it out. Well, I guess that's a bullet. I guess it's been fired and maybe mushed out weirdly, but yeah, first bullet of the day. Yay! Well, this is kind of an interesting find. It's a great big board that was under the sand. Had to break it off because it's under that log too. But it's got big square nails in it, and some down here. I was hoping it was going to be something I could recognize as being maybe military, but I don't. I mean, it's just a big plank of some sort. Could be from a barn, from a mill, who knows. But it's an old one, and you know what? It wasn't easy getting out of the sand. I just had to know what it was. All right, let's keep moving. Maybe the next one will be a musket. I'm still trucking along, and I haven't gotten to a spot where I really want to get the camera on and do a lot of filming yet, but I found something kind of interesting that I think you might enjoy. At least I certainly do. I just dug this big iron thingy, and I believe that is like a handle that would have gone on a wagon, and possibly a military wagon. That's where it would have been bolted down to something. And I've seen these on military wagons before, so that's quite possible that's what that is. What we're going to do is keep moving along, and as soon as I get into a spot where there's actually some, you know, interesting stuff, more than one target, we'll get the camera back out. We're going to hammer it, man. Oh, beaver! Just kidding. There are a lot of beavers out here, though. That's an old beaver or muskrat hole right there. Well, I finally dug another bullet, and it's a fired one again, so yeah, I'm happy finding fired bullets, but I'd rather find drop, because drop means that the soldier was standing right here or up there on that bank somewhere in the poison ivy, and he could have dropped other things besides bullets. I mean, so far we have 2 bullets. That's a pretty good day right there, isn't it? And we just got started. Sounds like a bullet here in this shallow area. I thought we'd try to dig it together. Right there. Probably not very deep. I thought that might be a cable, but I was just baling twine. So there's something right here. Unfortunately, not going to really be able to see it. I'm going to have to set you down, I guess. Let's see if I moved it. All right, still buried. Let me set you down. All right, hopefully you can see that, and it's not too close. Right in here. It's kind of a low pressure area, so I'm a little bit worried about junk, but yeah, sure enough. I thought it was a little bit better signal than like a pull tab, but as it turns out, it's a piece of aluminum. Again, this is kind of a low pressure area. Oh well. Wouldn't have known that with certainty unless we dug it. All right, let's dig it, baby. We're working this low pressure area right here, and by that I mean an area where when the water's flowing, lighter stuff will settle out, okay, like cans and pull tabs and shotgun shells, but also buttons and things like that. And of course, it could be heavier stuff underneath. I just looked down and saw this, and I guess it's probably hoping too much that that's a Civil War brogan or soldier shoe. But let's look at it together. Yeah, I would say, without a doubt, that is not a Civil War era sneaker. But you never know. Something like that could actually be here and uncovered in an area like this. So let's just cut to the chase. That's very sad. All right, let's get back at it. I have a really good signal here, or an interesting signal at least. It's big. I suspect it's going to be like iron of some sort. A little bit nervous because you can see some iron. Looks like it might be piled up there from another digger, and there's a lot of little pieces in here, but that could actually be something decent there. So let's go ahead and dig it together with the pick. Got a nice big old heavy magnet on the end of it, and hopefully, well, that's a good sign. This means it's not laying right on the surface, so that means it wasn't dug before, at least not recently. But it also means that it's something that's not iron. So I can turn you off for a minute and get the pinpointer out and see exactly where it is, and then we'll get you back out. All right, so this is what I'm getting out of the hole. This is a signal that we heard, a big iron signal. It was down, it was covered up like about 6 inches of clay and dirt, so that has not been dug before. But it's also a lot of barbed wire. Those are a lot of little pieces I'm hearing in there. So I'm not going to dig anything else unless it's a big iron thing like that, or squeaker. Not sure what that is. That looks like it could be something like off of an axle for, you know, a wagon or something like that, but could even be a fitting for a pipe. I don't really know for sure, but With all that stuff in here, it's really hard to say. All right, let's keep moving. We're going to work our way through this little puddle right here, jump over that big tree, and keep going upriver. So I actually haven't gotten anywhere yet because I want to check the hole again. There are a lot more signals down there. So I went ahead and dug a few. Let me show you what we discovered. Nothing good. What we have is a fence staple and round nails. So that tells me that what we're finding here in this detritus, something that washed down the river in a flood, is absolutely post-Civil War, because round nails weren't really invented or used much until the late 1800s. I think in the 1880s they start really showing up, and by 1900 that's mostly what you see because they're much cheaper to make. All right, so I actually am kind of glad we checked that out, because just finding that hub didn't really tell us how old the stuff was that we were hearing in the headphones. That's kind of interesting. Look at that. I think it's going to be a wheelbarrow, but it probably has a rubber tire, so it's not going to be very old. But you can see it's becoming exposed as this mud bank is being washed away with the different floods. And there could be muskets and other things like that underneath that, and, you know, deep down like that. So this is an area we definitely want to search. Big tire right there, probably maybe off a tractor or a farm vehicle. But yeah, so that's a modern. Pretty sure that's just going to be a modern wheelbarrow. It's been cool to find like a Civil War one. I can't have a rubber tire naturally. But we'll see. We might get lucky yet. Wheelbarrow or musket? Which would you rather have? You can see that dust cloud right there, and I can hear a tractor up there in the field. I thought that they were probably harvesting, you know, some type of grain, but I got this taste on my tongue of chemicals, so I suspect they may be actually spreading chemicals. So breathe deep or not. Oh, hold your breath. That's what I should have said. Hold your breath. Can't forever though, can we? Well, I guess we can, but it doesn't usually turn out to be coming back. Doesn't turn out too well. Let's go hide up in the bank and try to get away from these chemicals. I had a nice little squeaky there, and I was digging around and looking at my hand. I know it's in there, but I couldn't find it. But oh, it looks a little more obvious now. But yeah, so this little round ball right there. That boy, I thought that was a rock. I kept thinking that was a rock, but that's probably it's not even that. It's quite heavy enough to. Yeah, it's got to be lead. It's probably a case shot, something that came out of the inside of a cannonball. But it just looks a little weird, and it's kind of light, actually. I don't know. We'll have to look at it a little bit closer. But I'm in an area now where years ago found quite a few bullets. So hopefully there's one or two left, or maybe washed out after a flood. So, well, there's one anyway. Maybe. I have a pretty happy little iron signal in here somewhere. I want to just hear it if I can find it again. I was hoping it might be an artillery shell, but I'm not so sure. But something big, something iron. Let's go ahead and poke her. Oh, I guess that would technically be an it with a magnet. See what it is. Oh, it's a tire. Yeah, it's an automobile tire. I can feel it because when I put the magnet on it, it bounces. And that tells me that's what it is. The thing is, automobile tires have steel treads in them. So when you go over them, they can really mimic that artillery shell signal. And in this area, I mean, I would definitely dig any type of signal like that, because, you know, even if it's not quite an artillery shell signal, it could be an artillery shell that has something on top of it, or it could be a musket, or it could be a bayonet or something like that. That's a tire. I'm not going to worry about it. I've heard a million of those. Another thing that will really fool you is big balls of aluminum, like aluminum foil that's all balled up. They sound like artillery shells. It's really weird. But all right, let's keep moving. See what we can find. What do you say? Let me show you something really quick. As I've been coming up through here, I am encountering dig holes from this year for sure. Like this big spike was in one of them. I dug it up and left it, and some other, you know, smaller things. But there's running into. I am running into stuff like this now, which I don't think is all that old. If you look in this little run right here, see those black streaks? That's black sand. Now we are in a gold bearing area right here. There's lots of black sand in this river. In fact, people look for gold in this river. I was thinking, if you want me to, I'll bring a pan next time. I've never panned here. I'll bring a pan next time, and maybe we'll see if we can find a little bit. I don't think we'll find a lot, because if there's a lot here, there'd be people here doing it. but it might be fun to see if we can at least find some color, you know. So let me know if you want to do that. I mean, it's here, so who knows? Well, the sand, black sand's here anyway. Some broken glass too. Look at that. All right, let's get back at it. Well, it's been like an hour or two. I haven't really found much, but let me just show you a couple little things. I'm hoping it gets better. Mostly just digging pieces of iron. I just dug this, which I thought was curious, but I don't know what that is. It's like a giant button, a giant dandy button, but it's probably farm related. Chunk of chain, and what is the remains of an old leg hold trap. I'm still in a good area though. It's been dug pretty hard. I'm not giving up yet. Although it probably sounds like it. I'm really excited inside. I'm getting close to an area where there was a dam back in the day. I'm finding a lot more stuff now. Nothing really good, but I just found this, which almost reminds me of a cartridge box liner. May not be, it's a little bit heavy, but it looks like, you know, like a broken up cartridge box liner. This would set down inside of the cartridge pouch, which was leather, and they had this tin piece that all the cartridges would slide into. It's about the right width. So that's a possibility on that one. That's going to be interesting to look that one up. Well, I got some bad news. Unfortunately, my little pinpointer has a hole in it. I rubbed a hole in it, and the thing is, just this morning I put a patch on it. I saw that it was getting close, but it hadn't gone through yet. But if you look at it, see how it's kind of worn on that one side? That's the side I favor. Now that little thing right there is a hole. Now if I quit using it now and get it dried out, it'll be fine, and I'll put a cap over the end of it, and then we'll be good to go. Like I said, I did that this morning, but I guess I didn't give the epoxy time to dry. Now I'm going to hit the road, Jack, but we're going to be back. Don't worry about that.
Mother Earth, she's got her secrets, and she'll like go to sleep. Hidden in her dirt pocket, take your gold chain and your locket. Mother Earth has no sympathy. She'll take the ring from your hand and bury it in the sand and keep it for eternity.